Krishna consciousness really is. Krishna consciousness is really pure consciousness of Krishna. You see, but because in our Western civilization we have a very poverty-stricken ontology when it comes to consciousness. Just today I was involved in this long conversation of comments on YouTube where this guy just didn't get it. You know, he's a so-called intelligent, so-called educated person. Yet he couldn't understand that consciousness is different from personality, from ego, from mind, from emotion, from all these things. He couldn't understand that. The mind, the emotions, the intelligence, and all these things are objects of consciousness. Consciousness itself is completely separate from these things. Completely different quality of existence. Completely different ontological platform. See, people don't understand these things. There is no scientific formula or a scientific theory of consciousness that can predict the changes in consciousness when one encounters transcendental sound vibration. This is not part of any psychological theory or any scientific explanation of consciousness in Western science, material science. Because they can't be explained by anything material. You see? So they try to ignore it. They try to say this doesn't exist. Because the only way to verify this is to try the experiment yourself. You yourself have to become pure. You yourself have to chant the holy name. Then you can experience all these things. Because consciousness is subjective. It can't be measured. It can't be set up in the laboratory, poured into a test tube, isolated, examined with material instruments. Consciousness is a property or quality of the living entity. That means you and me, the soul, the person. So it can't be separated from the living entity. It can't be objectified. It can't be made into something material or separate from the soul. The only way to verify the Vedic science of consciousness is to perform the experiment yourself. And when you do, you get the same result. But you have to follow the instructions. And that's the thing. They don't want to become pure. They don't want to follow the instructions. They don't want to give up meat, sex life, intoxication, gambling, speculation, and all this nonsense. They refuse to give it up. So they can't get the same result. They can't verify the result. So then they say the scriptures are wrong. You're just imagining it. But actually they're the ones who are imagining that they can get some advancement in spiritual life without following the principles. It's not possible. So in the 11th canto, 20th chapter, verse 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord himself says, one should execute the prescribed duties of Varna and Ashram as long as he has not developed spontaneous attachment for hearing about my pastimes and activities. That's the key. Sometimes we see the self-realized souls acting in a way which is apparently contrary to the rules and regulations, especially the Babajis. We don't know anybody like that, of course. But anyway, we see them sometimes doing things that are a bit odd. People may say, well, you know, he's not following strictly all these rules and stuff like that. But, you know, he's not supposed to. That would diminish his loving attachment for Krishna. He's already pure. He has spontaneous attachment. He doesn't require any rules and regulations to stay fixed. But most people do. So they have to follow according to the stage they're at. There's a very nice verse which I like to quote, this Adau Shraddha Satya Sangha, Adau Shraddha Sadhu Sango. You know that verse? Yeah. 10 stages of devotional service. So which one are you at? If you're in the beginning, 3 or 4 stages, you have to follow the rules and regulations. But once you acquire taste, then spontaneous devotional service. So you have to act according to your level or your stage of development of devotional service. Otherwise, you can fall down. You have to act appropriately. In other words, the prescribed forms of varna and ashram are ritualistic ceremonies of religion intended for economic development, sense gratification, or salvation. All of these things are recommended for persons who have not developed Krishna consciousness. In fact, all such activities are recommended in the revealed scriptures only to bring one to the point of Krishna consciousness. But one who has already developed spontaneous attachment for Krishna does not require to execute the duties prescribed in the scriptures. This is a very important point. If one cannot get beyond, cannot transcend the stage of regulative devotional service, it means there's something wrong with his understanding. If he's not progressing, if he's not making advancement, one should be able to attain this spontaneous platform of devotional service within the same lifetime as he becomes a devotee. It's not that one has to be born in a new body, in a new situation. He should be able to advance to this stage, you see. But if someone is being held back by lack of understanding or bad association or wrong emphasis, for example, when I was in ISKCON, the prevalent understanding is you can't attain the spontaneous platform. You can't do it. Nobody can do it. Our devotional service will forever be measured by how well we can execute the regulative principles. And then you have gurus falling down right and left, you know, convicted of child molestation and this and that. What is this? They can't even follow the rules and regulations of the neophyte stage of devotional service. And these are the leaders? Well, of course they're going to get the idea that you can't attain spontaneous devotional service because they haven't even attained the neophyte platform yet. But those who have actually followed those rules and regulations, they can understand that then there's a higher stage where you're beyond the rules and regulations. Does that mean that you go out and start smoking and drinking and eating meat again? No. No, it means you follow those rules and regulations spontaneously. It doesn't take any effort. In fact, you don't even think about this nonsense anymore because you're constantly absorbed in relishing the spiritual taste of the holy name of the Lord. See, that's really the spontaneous platform. And then automatically you perform service. Automatically you want to please your spiritual master. Automatically you want to serve the devotees. Automatically live in matra. Automatically chant the holy name. All these things come spontaneously. It's not like you say, okay, now I have to get up and do this mantra. Oh boy, this is tough, but I'm going to do it. You know, that's in the beginning. After a while, it's like, oh, beautiful, another day. Hare Krishna. Krishna is there.